My name is Tafsir Ba. I am the co-founder of Wilddots Ltd, and we are located in Switzerland, Geneva. What we do in Wilddots is basically creating software solutions that help facilitating the user experience for future real estate buyers. The best analogy to think about it is if you're a pilot and that you're flying at, I don't know, what altitude, and that you would have no tools to understand what the altitude you're in, when are you going to arrive, what distance you have ahead of you is the same than not having any metrics. So now what Google Analytics does is makes access to metrics like traffic, relevancy, conversions, so on and so forth available to everyone. So it's a really good first step because you can clearly access things like what is the level of traffic that you bring onto the platform, the level of engagement that you're having on the platform. But the most important is to understand how metrics influence your approach and strategy. Because when you create a digital marketing strategy, you essentially put a hypothesis forward. And this hypothesis is not verified. You, of course, have best case that comes from other brands, other campaigns, and I'm sure that you've read many blogs that says how to do best digital marketing campaign, but the answer on the field is that 80% of it is predictable, but the last 20% are not. So you don't know if your content, once distributed to the right channel, is going to have the right impact. And Google Analytics helps you track and understand if what you're putting out there has the effect that is desired. We've had several real estate projects that we've been carrying through digital marketing means. And one of them is, for example, a project that is called Smart Hill that is present in Crissier, where we've used digital marketing to actually reach the entire Canton de Vaud region, and I'm being very local here. And here the challenge was we're selling an atypical type of property, which are basically houses that are sticked together. It was a lot of 77 houses. And the type of property was very seldom within the region. We didn't find a lot of property similar to that. So it was difficult for us to understand how to best communicate to them and how to best design the content. And where Google Analytics really helped us is in fine-tuning our strategy as we go, meaning that we had hypothesis, measures, checkpoint, reassessment, hypothesis, measure, checkpoint, reassessment that help us to fine-tune and end up helping us converting more than 50% of the needed sales in less than 3 months, which was for us a great achievement. Of course, let's put things in context. When we mean selling a property, we are not fully responsible of it. We have brokers that actually do the muscle work, but converting the right leads was our job, and this is what was really successful for us. I think the biggest challenge when you advertise online is that you're kind of shooting in the dark, meaning that you have a set budget. And when you think about, an easy way to think about digital marketing is to think about 3 elements. You think about content, resource, and distribution. Content is basically your advertising, your design, your graphics, your messaging, whatever you want to say about the project. Yeah. The resources is the budget that will fuel the distribution of your message, and then there is the distribution channels that will carry your message to the right person. Yeah. The biggest challenge for a property manager is to understand what is the most efficient way to reach prospect and to have the best return on investment on a dollar spent. Okay, so one typical mistake that happens is that a property manager is going to say, okay, I have 20,000 Swiss francs and I'm going to spend 50% of that budget on a newspaper ad. And I'm going to spend the other half of the budget on Facebook, Google ad, and Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. Okay, so I'm going to spray on all fronts. But then I noticed that I have very poor visibility on the metrics of return on the newspaper. I don't know how many people called me because of the newspaper, because I don't have a tracking measure. And also, I don't know how effective it is. So essentially, you've put part of your budget in the dark. And when you put part of your budget in the dark, if you don't make sure that this budget is related to controlled metrics, you end up wasting money and wasting time, which also elongates the sales cycle and ends up with a poor ROI. All right, the easy answer is because I like it. The hard answer is because I believe digital, let's say, related technologies present the biggest opportunities for growth and for evolution for our industries. And within there is still so much things to be discovered and space to be covered, especially in industries like real estate or in the hotel industry also, where there is a perception that these are very conservative industries that move kind of slower than digital native industries. So this is where basically it's important to fully realize the opportunity that digital brings in solving problem in a more efficient manner using these technologies. I'm going to be unhelpful, but I believe the biggest skill that you can get is problem solving, meaning understanding clearly the definition of the problem you're trying to solve is the best and most helpful step you can have to become a great marketeer. And a digital marketer is only a marketer that uses digital means. Then the next step is to understand these digital means and especially what they do and what they don't do. But I think the wrong approach is to simply say, digital is the future, I'm just gonna throw myself in there and I'm gonna learn all about Google Analytics and all about Google Ads and so forth, and I'm gonna completely forget why am I doing it. So just putting technology back at the center as a tool to a mean or a tool to a purpose and making sure that you focus your attention on solving the problem rather than promoting the technology is the most important for me. A thousand ways. First, you need to map the customer journey and the decision process between the time where you think about booking your hotel room, the consideration time, the discovery time when you go onto the website and check maybe comparison platform and so on and so forth, down to the time where you find your hotel, book the hotel, pay the money, and then get into the experience until after the experience. So you have at least 8 or 9 steps or 8 or 9 micro experiences to think about. And in each of these steps, you have technology building blocks that can influence your choice or sway your choice. For example, it can be that when you search for a travel destination, that your SEO of the hotel of selection makes sure that when you type a certain destination, your hotel ranks up. Or that, for example, you can also think of it holistically from an experience standpoint. Instead of typing a location, you can type, for example, skiing, and make sure that your hotel ranks up. So you can sway the decision at all these steps using different technological elements that can influence how you look at the decision and whether you're going to go left or right. Now, it's a bit broad what I'm saying because so many micro experiences can bring so many outcomes, but most importantly is to map the different steps and understand what is the biggest consumer barrier on each of these steps. For example, step 1, when I'm considering booking a hotel room, what is the biggest barrier from choosing this hotel or this hotel? Is it a pricing problem? Is it a perception problem? Is it a visibility problem? And it comes back to what I was saying earlier, that defining the right problem is often the best foundation for great marketing actions using digital means.